As I got another rhyme, another rhythm for y'all to listen. I'm never quitting on my mission, I'ma roll with what I'm giving. Got some ambition, this new edition, filling positions. Looking at the void in myself and feeling what's missing. Better watch the way you going, better go in the right direction. In the moment you stressing, but you gon' be counting blessings. And I know that for certain, keep on working, open curtains. Haters swerving, cause they ain't ready for your final version. Whoa. I'm never gonna give up, fall down, I just gotta get up, yeah. Cause this is my road. Let's camera action.
You're listening to the Tom Ficklin Show on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I want to thank our producer, Harry Draws, always showing up for us and showing out. And last but not least, Tom Ficklin for allowing us the opportunity to share some information on his platform. So thank you, Tom, as always. Today's show, we're going to be talking about reentry and redemption. And I have two guests. Our first guest is Mr. Alden Woodcock, the Executive Director of Emerge. And if you're not familiar with Emerge, which was started in New Haven and founded in 2011 in response to the Great Recession and the highest incarceration numbers in state history at that time. We're going to get to know them a little bit more and some of the stuff that they're doing now and some of the stuff that they plan to do in the future. So with that being said, thank you all for joining us. We know you could have been anywhere else, so we appreciate you providing your listening ears for this scintillating information. In any event, what's going on, Alden? How you doing, sir?
Great to be here, Earl. I'm doing well. It's Friday, beautiful morning. So,
no doubt.
Yep.
That's what's up. So, as I mentioned earlier on, a little bit of the history of Emerge, but if you could let the folks know more about Emerge. I understand it's a nonprofit social enterprise that assists formerly incarcerated people to successfully integrate back into our communities and their communities. So yeah, tell us about that. I mean, how exactly is Emerge a nonprofit social enterprise?
Yeah, so once again, thank you all for having me. This is really exciting to be here with you all and Earl. Just the work you've done in New Haven and Bridgeport over the years. Really just commend you for that. Yeah, so Emerge is a little bit different than a lot of nonprofits, if you will, in that we are a social enterprise, which basically means we are both a nonprofit organization and a small business, right? So our business line is in construction, landscaping, property maintenance. So we do all that. We're fully insured and registered with the state, just like any other contractor. And we only hire people that are coming home from incarceration. As you said, this was started, it was piloted in 2009, became official in 2011 by Dan Husino, who's my predecessor. He's the founding executive director of Emerge and still a mentor to me to this day.
Yeah, Dan's an amazing man.
Yeah, still somebody I talk to really every week almost. He really started this because he was doing rapid attachment to the workforce, right? So he was working with Strive in New Haven at the time. Was one of the people that kind of brought Strive to Connecticut, and that rapid attachment to the workforce wasn't really getting the same results that he wanted during the recession, right? In 2008, housing crisis. I mean, if you had a college degree, a lot of times you were working entry-level positions, if at all. So if you had a record, it was forget about it. You weren't finding a job, right? So his philosophy was, rather than try to keep getting people to hire these guys that are coming home as he once did, right? Making that transition, I'm going to start my own thing, right? And I'm just going to hire them myself, right? And we're going to take your work, right? Like he thought of it as like a thing, like we're going to be better than these contractors, right? And we're going to change the narrative on how people feel about someone who has a history of incarceration, right? So,
basically, it was about eating other people's lunch. It's like, I'm going to make it happen, build my own table.
Exactly, right? And so what he did was, and we realized here at Emerge that a job is not enough to keep somebody from falling back into the system, right? Every month we have an orientation here at Emerge for new people. We'll have like 20 guys in the room, mostly men. And we'll say, how many people had a job? Raise your hand if you had a job before you were locked up. And everybody will raise their hand, maybe except one or two people. And then what we say is, so a job's not enough to keep somebody from falling into the system, right? A job is not enough, right? If a job solved all our problems and everybody in this radio show right now, we'd be set. We'd have no problems, right?
So
Life's a little more complicated than that. So we utilize that
absolutely.
ability because everybody thinks you need a job when you come home. Your PO is telling you get a job. Your
Mhm.
family wants you to get a job.
Right.
Your halfway house wants you to get a job. You want to get a job,
Right.
right?
But
But
as we know, individuals that are being released back to their communities need more than that, which is kind of what you guys based your model on, is a dual model that pairs paid work with trauma-informed support along with other resources, correct?
that's right. And so we use that ability. We say, okay, you can have a job with Emerge and you're going to make some money. You're going to learn some skills. You're going to build on skills you already come with, and that'll all be great. But in addition to that, you're going to engage in all of, and you're going to be a part of a community, really. And we don't call ourselves a program. We call ourselves a culture because Emerge is really a lifestyle. Emerge is a way to, it's about personal development. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about community. It's about each one teach one. Ubuntu, which is, for us is about camaraderie and not putting anybody above anybody else. It's a family and it's no nonsense, right? We're going to hold you accountable. We're going to hold you to a standard, but we're going to do it with love and respect. And so this is a place for people to begin to heal after experiencing incarceration. This is a place where you find community. A lot of times you come home and you can't wait to come home, but you come home and it doesn't feel like home because your family's reality has changed. Your community looks different. Some of these guys are coming home from doing 20, 30 years. New Haven looks different. The
Yeah,
sky looks different, right? Everything's different, right? Technology, like working one of these things. I
yeah.
mean,
I
forget
mean,
it. A lot of these dudes went to jail in the 90s. Like this wasn't even
a thing.
idea in
Danger
someone's
was
mind.
about
So,
it.
I mean,
I tell
listen,
you.
I think we need a lot of support. I think everybody you wants to act tough and stuff like that, but I don't care how tough you are, man. We all need help. We all need to heal. And so that's what we try to be by these groups that we do and some of these programs that we institute in addition to the paid work. It's a good balance for people who are really making that transition.
So you talked about some of the difficulties and barriers and obstacles when folks are coming home, especially after 20, 30 years. The world is a different place. Like coming out, I can't imagine, but I was in the thick of it along with yourself and many other of our colleagues that work with the reentry population, with folks coming home during the pandemic, which was
Yeah.
crazy. It was crazy. The world was shut down and people still had to find things to connect to resources. It was just insane. So you talk about everybody from parole to probation to family to even themselves expect them to get a job, but you and I both know job is not in and of itself everything, because you can get a person a job, but if they haven't been treated physically and mentally for the needs that they have, trauma that they didn't deal with before going into prison that may have caused them to get incarcerated, and then additional trauma while being incarcerated, we're not necessarily setting these folks up for success for themselves.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, right now in New Haven, I think it's great that, we've got opportunities to send people to Yale and here and there. And everybody thinks once you go work at Yale, life's going to be wonderful. And, th- there,
Like
there's
we bought
this,
the golden ticket.
there's this feeling of like, so, you get this job, but you still feel othered. You still feel like you don't belong there. You still feel like you're being judged. You still feel like you're at the bottom of the, totem pole. You're making no money, right? You're working poor, right? So these are these things where it's like, man, like, is it really worth it? And you can start to see the mentality of, man, why don't I just go back to what I know, right? So even if that's not healthy, as people, we're gonna gravitate towards what's familiar rather than what's good for us sometimes, right? Right. So it might be familiar and unhealthy, but either way, we try to be, and a lot of these younger dudes too, we try to be for every 1, 2 people that are saying, man, just come on, we can get some money, this and that. Like you need 10 people telling you, no, you got this, bro. Stay the course. you know, and so that's what we try to be as that community. And you talk about coming home during COVID. A lot of the guys that came home during COVID were compassionate release that were doing life bids.
Mhm.
Guys that were never supposed to see the outside of those walls again in their life, right? And so we had an influx of people that had done 20 or more years.
Right.
Jimmy's done 40, you know, so Shabazz done 28. Like a lot of these guys done 30, 20 years. I mean, it's a different level of support, right? So, you know, we pride ourselves on being able to adapt to that. Most of the people that work here, that are full-time staff, that are mentors, that are program staff, have lived that life, have been incarcerated, have come home, have come through Emerge. You know, and just, you know, we can't let them go because it's a family atmosphere, right? So we try to each one teach one, try to be that support, and we do it from multiple different perspectives. But that's huge, is having that lived experience in the room at all times to be able to identify with and call me out if I'm off base with something, right? Like, you don't understand, right? Like, I need that, right? I've been here 11 years, but I'm still learning every day. So that's what it's all about.
You and I both. So you and I go back a ways. During my stint in New Haven, worked for the city of New Haven in Reentry. You know, we worked and collaborated on some things and helped out some mutual clients. My time in Bridgeport, I don't see that has changed. I made some referrals over to you guys, and like you said, it's a family. I know one of the referrals I made over to you, that you and I both were sticking behind because the individual, unfortunately, while they're doing well within your program and rising, they still have some issues. And you and I had to go to court, and we're prepared to testify if necessary, and as well still sticking by people because that is what we do. That being said, you know, sending referrals over to Bridgeport, there's news about you guys Emerge expanding into Bridgeport. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm very excited, and I want to thank the city of Bridgeport and a group of faith leaders in Bridgeport called the Joinders, Pastor McCluster, a couple other folks that invited us into Bridgeport, and then all the support of, you know, your colleagues over at the city, as well as yourself, Earl, and CRI and everybody, Charlie Grady, all these people that have been longtime friends of ours. You know, we're Emerge Connecticut for a reason. We never wanted to be just in New Haven. New Haven's our first site, but you know, the goal was to, let's see if this works. Let's pilot it. We've been around for over a decade, and we're ready to start expanding into, you know, other areas of Connecticut. And we feel that our, you know, moving into Bridgeport, opening up a site in Bridgeport this year, which is in the works as we speak. You know, we're very excited to become part of the fabric of Bridgeport. I've been saying this, and I mean it, that I want Emerge Bridgeport to be for Bridgeport, by Bridgeport. I want it to have Bridgeport staff. Like, I want Bridgeport to put its own flavor on the model that we've and the culture that we've created. And I'm really, really excited to see that kind of come to fruition this year. We're ready to put in the work, and we're ready for the people coming home to Bridgeport to have, you know, another path that I think, like I said, will complement some of the great work that's already being done. In New Haven, we pride ourselves on being able to complement the work that's being done because, you know, there are people that might come to, you know, Project More next door that aren't quite ready for that next step, right? There's a few things that they need to, you know, take care of before they're ready for that opportunity. And here they're able to work and earn some money and work on some of those things that maybe wouldn't be that someone could get fired for at another job. They're not going to get fired for it here. We're going to work through it. We're going to get it right. But by the time you go to that full-time job, you're ready for it. So we look at ourselves as sort of like a bridge from being incarcerated to going to that full-time job, removing some of those barriers. And we're excited to be able to offer that same kind of, you know, resource within the fabric of the work being done in Bridgeport. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm very, very excited to be able to work in a city that I absolutely love. Spent a lot of time in Bridgeport myself, and yeah, couldn't be happier about that.
No, that's amazing, and we're looking forward to having Emerge here. You guys have a track record of success, and speaking about success, what do you what would you say besides the culture that Dan started and that you're carrying on and evolving and that other people that come in bring to it contributes to the success of Emerge? And what are some of those numbers? So
Yeah. Yeah, we pride ourselves on also being a data-driven organization. It was hammered into me real early when I started working here about results-based accountability and nonprofits need to have results. It's nice to have, every nonprofit has a cute story about someone that benefited from their program and this and that, but and we got plenty of those, but when you meet somebody at Emerge that's been successful, the numbers sort of say he's not the only one, right? There's hundreds of others, right? So the numbers kind of back that up and create a narrative. And so since 2011, our 2-year recidivism rate, so people that have been, we define recidivism as being convicted of a new crime since coming home. 10.8% of our crew members
wow,
have been convicted of a new crime, right? 10.8%, which is far lower than the state averages.
about 40% for the state average.
So, this is a big difference maker in people's lives. And I firmly believe that some of those people in that 10% are honestly doing pretty well, right? Like like you talk about our mutual connection, right? Who's, I just got off the phone. I get the calls from Windsor Locks on my phone all the time from him, right? And I take the beeps and everything and I go through Securus and JPay and all that to talk to him. And I got no doubt in my mind that he's gonna be fine as soon as they let him get another chance. And so yeah, he might be part of that that number, right? But that 10.8%. But I think that what we do here is we plant seeds, right? You can't tell me that after, like, I'm not, nobody here is God. I mean, we got some pretty great people working here, but you can't wave a magic wand and erase 40 years of trauma in
Right.
6 months. It just doesn't work like that, right? So we can plant seeds, we can water seeds, right? And we might never see the sunflower, we might never see the end result. But we do take a pride in staying with people. But to me, the job numbers are always, in the 60s, and then the retention numbers are always in like the 80s percent. But what's more important to me than a job is staying out, because I think a lot of factors go into staying out. And like I said before, a job is not the only important thing. It's one of the pillars. I think that, yeah, I firmly believe that. And I think jobs will come and go, but they're a result of your personal development. They're a result of the work that you put into yourself. One of the things and so that's what we focus on, is the personal development here at Emerge, because I firmly believe that jobs will come and go, but we need to be lifelong learners. We need to be teachable, and we need to be able to continue to grow and learn.
Indeed, I agree. So a couple of things. So one of the things that I'm also currently doing is working with the Office of Strategic Workforce, the Office of Workforce Strategy for the governor as a committee chair for their reentry, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility planning, so that to make sure that folks of reentry population have a seat at the table. I'm a firm believer, if you're not, at the table, then you're going to be on the menu, and we want people at the table. With that being said, what you said, it rings a lot of bells, because one of the things that we've been saying to employers is that, the person that you interview and the person that you ultimately hire are two different people.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And
Mhm.
then it's a 50-50 shot, whether they have a background and been incarcerated or not. There are two different people between the person that you interview and the person that you hired. And it's a 50-50 shot whether they're going to work out or not. So, give everybody a chance, regardless of their background. And again, I'm not saying that necessarily you hire an arsonist to take care of the forest, but, within reason, everybody deserves that shot at employment in a livable wage. And with that being said, what are some of the components of your programming? I know I came through the office a couple of times. And I know, I believe at one point you guys were using Khan Academy. You were helping people with, literacy. What are some of the components of the program?
Yeah, so we got quite a few different programs that we run here. Typically a work week here at Emerge is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Everybody's going out to different job sites and things like that. And then Thursdays and Fridays are typically program days. Right now, Thursday mornings we have like a rotating calendar on programs for Thursday mornings. Right now, it's Circle of Security, which is a parenting curriculum. We think fatherhood is like one of the most important things. And we pride ourselves on really making sure that fathers have the resources they need to be able to be the fathers that they want to be. We deal with attachment theory and developing secure attachment and connection, because a lot of times we think our kids just want attention, but they want connection. They need connection. We all need that, right, to survive. Right. So it's about connection. It's about listening, understanding your kids and whatever issues they may have with you being away and this and that, and like navigating that and navigating the relationship with their mother, whatever that may be, which can be extremely complicated, as we all know. So
Mother, grandmother, aunt,
yes,
whatever
yes.
caretaker. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's about developing healthy relationships and reinforcing that and understanding your part in it and stuff like that. So, that's one. Our flagship program is Real Talk, man. Real Talk is every Friday all year round. Every Friday morning, 7:30. We got done with it a little while ago. Topic this morning was how do I stay open to being led? So we all spoke on that, right? Everybody spoke on that from different perspectives. And, some of us have problems with authority. Some of us have a problem being led. Some of us have been led down the wrong road,
Right.
right? Some of us don't like to be led because we've had bad experiences with that, right? So working through some of these issues, but then understanding that the value of being led, like I would not be where I'm at in life if I didn't have great mentors, leaders that I still call every day, right? I keep them really close. And so, leadership is huge. And so it could be that every week is a different topic and we all speak on it. And between us, it's group therapy,
Right.
right? But if we called it group therapy, no one would show up. So we call it Real
Always.
Talk, and everybody comes because they want to be real and this and that, right? So whatever it takes to get people to be more comfortable with speaking and hearing your voice and hearing your thoughts out loud, right? Because really what we want to do is destigmatize mental health. I think mental health has been stigmatized,
Indeed.
so much, especially, men, we don't want to go to therapy. What? And a lot of times people coming home from incarceration, their experience with therapy was, all right, or mental health services. In school, I got in trouble and I got sent to go see this white lady counselor, and she didn't understand, and I was in trouble, right? So that was my first, right? And then, if you, God forbid, you're in the DCF system, right? Anything you say to this social worker could get mom or dad in trouble, right? So that's a punitive sort of experience, right? And then you go to
That was
prison.
a burden on a young person to think about, have to think about and navigate.
Exactly. And then in prison, right, there are counselors and things like that. And I will say that in all of these systems, there are great counselors that exist in these systems. It's just the dynamic of being forced to be in therapy, to not have a choice, to not have agency in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
My experience with therapy, I chose to go to therapy. I chose how much we met, how often we met. I chose who my therapist was. I chose whether or not I decided to go on medication. I had agency in my healing, right? So we want to destigmatize mental health. I'm like, you don't have to go to therapy, you know, but
No,
this is the
therapy helps.
benefit of it. This is the benefit of it. And everybody needs to be able to heal at some point or another. So just getting people more comfortable with the concept that therapy doesn't have to be this punishment that it has been. This can be something that you have control over and you're in the driver's seat of your own mental health journey. And so most of our programs are geared towards that. We also have financial education, getting your credit right, people don't trust banks, but money under the bed is not
Gotta be
not the
unfortunately,
way,
gotta be
right? So
affordable
we got to
system.
get that credit up. We got to start. If a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs, right? So let's get that credit up. Um, stuff like that. So we got, Winning Ways comes in, Kevin Paulin, and
Kevin Paulin,
you
great
know,
dude.
they do the financial empowerment curriculum here at Emerge, and we got a food justice program we do here as well. So we try to do a lot of different things, mentorship, entrepreneurship, so trying to expose guys to all kinds of different aspects of whatever their vision of success is, just trying to put resources in their path to make it happen.
Nah, those are all great components, especially the real talk and the group therapy. Therapy is what you make it, honestly.
It is. It is.
Having agency is very key. I
Yeah.
know when I first started therapy and I sought out a culturally competent
Right.
clinician, and the first 2 or 3 years, to be quite honest, I bullshitted. I wasn't putting in the work and I wasn't being honest with my therapist, so therefore I wasn't being helped. Right?
Right.
So, fast forward a couple of years, I ghosted my therapist. Fast forward a couple of years, go through the pandemic. I have a bunch of people pass, and I'm like losing my mind. I was like, so I called my therapist up. I was like, hey, you got room? And then, like, I am seeing progress because I am actually putting in the work and I am actually being vulnerable and honest with my therapist. So
Exactly.
it's shadow work is hard.
It
And dealing
is.
at yourself in the mirror is hard. Holding your own self accountable is hard. But Emerge seems to be doing a great job of that. Last question I have for you, if you want to tell us a little bit, one about your documentary and how people can donate to
Mm.
Emerge. I believe it was called "As We Emerge: The Monologues of Formerly Incarcerated."
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Thank you for bringing that up. Um,
Absolutely.
so we did in 2018 we did a project with Quinnipiac University's theater program. At the time, my board chair Dr. Sawyer from he's at Fairfield now.
At Fairfield now, I know Dr. Sawyer very well.
He was the vice president. He's the vice president at Fairfield. He was the vice president at Quinnipiac at the time, and he saw a theater program that was veterans that came home from war, and they did this like thing where they told their stories. And it was like their stories were basically like transcribed into monologues, and they just told their stories on stage, and it changed the narrative of how people in the audience thought about PTSD and being assault, all that stuff, making that transition home after being at war. And so he was like, man, we got to do this with Emerge. So we did it in 2018, and it wasn't filmed or anything, but it was like sold out all 3 nights. It was amazing. Really, really powerful stuff. And we had an intern that turned him into TikTok. So if you go to Emerge's TikTok, you can see some of the 2018 footage on there. He put them into clips and everything. And some of them got like 20, 30,000 views. So we were like,
Wow.
oh, we got to get these stories out there, right? So we were like, let's do it again. And this time we're going to make a documentary. So we did it again this last fall, we did it. We got Travis Carbonella, who's a filmmaker in New Haven. Some of you all might be familiar with his work. He's amazing. And he's putting together a short documentary on the process. We had 5 guys go through the process, and man, they just did a phenomenal job telling their stories, being vulnerable, changing the narrative on how people think of folks who have experienced that life, that experience of incarceration. And so the documentary should be coming out this spring, I think either next month or somewhere around there. We're going to show a trail. We plan to show a trailer of it at the Reentry Awards in Bridgeport that CRI is holding next month. And then we're going to be raising money for it, for the documentary again, with the Great Give in May. And then we will be having community screenings where we're going to do one in New Haven, in Westville at the Art Walk in April, and then we'll do one at the end of the summer at Fairfield U, and then we're going to do a few more in between. We'll do one more in Bridgeport, one more in Waterbury, one more in New Haven. So that we'll be putting out dates for that. You can come watch the movie. We're going to have popcorn, this and that, and then we're going to have a panel discussion with the guys who participated in it, so you can ask questions and get more familiar with that process from them. So, it's a great way to support the guys that are, brave enough to tell their stories, right? Because they'll be getting honorariums and stuff like that for this whole thing. And then also to support the cause and, get more people familiar with our model and what we do as we kind of get settled in Bridgeport and start this new chapter.
No, that's awesome. Looking forward to the awards in April with CRI. Also looking forward to have you and the family of Emerge come and speak at the New Haven Reentry Roundtable, and let people know,
Yes, sir.
when's the next orientation, and again, the website. So if people want to make donations to Emerge.
Yeah, emergect.net, emergect.net. That's where you can find out more about us. Also, it's springtime. Everybody's got yard work they need to get done. Let us do that for you, right? You can hire us, hire an Emerge crew to come take care of your lawn, any spring projects you want to do, spring cleaning, get that furniture out of there that you don't want anymore, stuff like that. We can take care of that. Businesses, we do landscaping services all spring, summer, fall, and then snow removal in the winter. So, residents, businesses, give us a call. You can find out more on our website, emergect.net. Follow us on Instagram, emerge_CT, to stay updated on what we're doing. And yeah, look forward to collaborating with anyone and everyone who wants to get involved.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Woodcock. We will be in touch. Appreciate you, man. Keep doing that great work, man. Looking
You
forward.
as well, Earl. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. Thank you all.
All right, that was Mr. Alden Woodcock, Executive Director of Emerge CT. So upcoming now, we have the pleasure of having Pastor Esau Green with us of New Antioch. And we're going to be discussing some of the things that he has going on and some of the work he's done in the past, some of the work that we've partnered with in the past. And without further ado, full disclosure, Pastor Green is from South Carolina, Darlington, South Carolina. His family's from Darlington, South Carolina. My family's from Darlington, South Carolina. So by extension, we're cousins. So there we go. Top of that. So, Pastor Green, how you doing today, sir? Or should I say, how you doing, fam?
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So, what?
Yeah, man, it's always an honor.
You cut out there.
I said it's always an honor.
Okay. Pleasure's all mine.
How about now? We better?
Yeah, we're better. Pleasure's all mine. So, how are things going on? What's new and upcoming? And then we'll get a little bit into the past about some of the connectivity that we have.
Well, on April 12th, we will be celebrating Redemption Summit. Redemption Summit is an opportunity for those in the religious spectrum and those in the secular realm to come together and celebrate individuals who have re-entered society, and they are now being successful, and also not just celebrating the success stories, but also we use this as a conduit to encourage individuals who are just starting out on their re-entry, and even those who are currently incarcerated, something to provide hope for those who need it.
All right, that's awesome. So, and that's taking place during National Reentry Month in April, also National Poetry Month, but National Reentry Month in April. You want to tell us a little bit about how that got formulated? And you mentioned hope, because I remember over the various meetings that we had back in 2016 when we did sort of, I guess, the predecessor to this Redemption Summit. Hope was a big thing that we talked about, and in fact, the acronym I believe that was originated was helping one person every day, and
yes,
that's still kind of the basis of this. So we planned and did the first, or one of the first that I was involved in anyway, and I want to say that was 2016 in New Haven community over at Wexler School before I guess it became Wexler Grant. What are your memories about that program?
Yes, that was our Hope Festival. Mm-hmm. That was the Hope Festival, which the Redemption Summit has evolved out of it. The Hope Festival was a one-day event where we would bring in individuals such as yourself community leaders and let them know that there was a constant presence of individuals who are there to help them fulfill uh, their dreams and desires and provide hope. The Redemption Summit uh, has grown. It's the hope. It's just the Hope Festival on steroids, to be honest with you. And what we've done, we've brought in. There has been such a there's such a redemptive value in that not only are individuals coming into the church, but they're, as Alan was speaking, they are excelling in the communities. So we've transformed the Hope Festival into a 2-day event. And this year, we have the great pastor, former pastor of Varick AME in New Haven, Pastor Eldrin Morrison. He's going to be with us on April 12th that night. It's going to be a religious service, testimonies, hand clapping, feet tapping, giving glory to God for all the things that he's done and he's doing in our lives. I myself am a formerly incarcerated individual. And our desire uh, comes from our own life experiences. There were individuals like yourself, like Tom Ficklin. I can remember leaving parole and running into Scott X. Esdale, who brought me down to Strive, New Haven, and Strive is sort of like a forerunner of Emerge. The same individual founded that. So we're going on and we're standing on the shoulders of individuals who've paved the way, who showed a spirit of excellence and an ability to dynamically have these sorts of events to enhance our communities, to again provide hope to individuals. And I'm trusting and hoping that all of our colleagues who are involved in reentry, Christian or secular, will come out those 2 days and help celebrate the wondrous stories that we have and provide some hope to some who may not be, keeping up. But there's so much to deal with. I heard you guys talking about the trauma that many experience, and they go untreated. We, as you know, we have the Helen Harrison House of Hope for Women in Crisis, and we see every day how the trauma of the past affects how we are in the present. And although I am a pastor, a religious leader, we do not buck against someone taking a pill with their prayer or or seeing a therapist. Those are some of the things that we really need to tackle, to take on at face value, and encourage individuals to really seek out the mental health that they need.
No, definitely agreed. So you just covered a whole swath of things. So, talked about, you talked about this Redemption Summit, being the Hope Festival on steroids. So it was great working with you in planning that. I know there's some people that we worked with that are not around anymore, actually, that helped in planning some of these events. And it went from, the 2016, and then 2017, it got even bigger, where we did it in Scatterberry Park. It was outside. The weather wasn't cooperating, but it was still a successful program. We had a ton of people speaking, Dae McKnight, Juan Castillo, all types of people. And then 2018, I remember working with you and others and honoring you guys for the work that you were doing with some proclamations from the city at that time and to now. So you also mentioned in your own personal history that you were formerly incarcerated. How does, and you mentioned getting out of parole and people, putting their hand out to give you and provide you hope, but not just hope, helping you, transition with an action plan to success. So from there till now, in that time frame, that was what, roughly 2001, 2002, around there, when you were being released, and you're here now, giving back to the community in amazing fashion. How does that transition happen for folks? Because you talk about providing hope, but we know hope also requires an action plan for success. And then one of the things that I had to learn in working in this arena is that unfortunately everybody is not always ready to make that transition to success for whatever reason. But everybody's not always ready. How did you make that transition, and how are you being successful, and how can other people learn and be inspired from your story?
Well, it all didn't start in the church, and it all did not start in the secular world. While I was incarcerated, the last couple of years of my incarceration, I was at Webster in Cheshire. And one of the greatest things that happened at that time, again, Scott X, Esdale, and brothers from the NAACP were coming into the facility. They were encouraging us. They were letting us know that what happened in the past was in the past, and that there would be individuals who would walk us through the process of reentry once we left the inside of the prison walls. Uh, there are still those individuals who go into the prison, but I think that that was really effective for our community, for Black men. And also, I had the church. I had my mentor, my mother in the gospel of Jesus Christ, Evangelist Beverly Vaughn, who also walked with me through the process of reentry, constantly instilling that I am loved, I am someone, that God still has a plan and a purpose for my life. A lot of times we think that it's over just because we've been locked up, but there's some greatness in the prisons, and that's what we want our brothers, friends, and nephews to know. There's greatness that comes out of the prisons. Just because you made a mistake, no matter what the consequences were, no matter how dire that situation was, you've done your time. You're deserving of a second chance. And when that chance was given to me, I took it with radical faith and radical belief that if I gave the effort, that I would be more than what I was when I went in.
No, that's awesome. Thank you. And you mentioned, our brothers and uncles and sons and cousins, also our sisters, mothers, and aunts as well. Um, you,
Absolutely.
as you and I both know, the impact in the community. Some of the statistics for Connecticut and all over the country are insane. The United States in prisons is one of the countries that imprisons the most people. I don't know if we're first, second, and third in that number anymore. It kind of fluctuates, but from in the state of Connecticut, from roughly 1978 to probably 2010ish to 2010ish. The carceral population went from like 400 or maybe 1,000 people in 1978 to over 20,000 people. And then it started to take a dive, roughly 215 to now we're at a point where it's between like 9 and 10,000. But I think before it was really crazy. It was out of control. And even at 9 and 10,000, it's still a lot of people, and mainly our people that are being incarcerated, Black and brown people. While the sea tide is changing, there's still a lot of great work that needs to be done. Along with, there was you mentioned Scott Esdale, who's a great partner and great force in the state of Connecticut in doing this work, employing people. They have the Million Jobs campaign that's ongoing. There's a woman that I work with, Dr. Martha Okafor. A lot of people with great vision. There's never not enough work that needs to be done in regards to our folks that are incarcerated. But I bring up Martha Okafor because she is one of my mentors, and she talked a lot about the no entry plan. So not only do we need help in transitioning our folks back into their community, and reintegrating them successfully, setting them up for success and dealing with the trauma and getting them hired with livable wages and a safe place to live and getting their physical and mental and spiritual health needs met. But we also have the individuals that we would like to have them never get in the pipeline. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Well, we're blessed that we have my wife and I are actually licensed registered foster parents, and we don't have any children in the home now. But I serve as a readily available mentor, and so does my wife. And I have children during the day. And one of the things I know you're aware of, and tell Dr. Okafor I said hello. But one of the things that is really affecting our community is the one parent household.
Mhm.
And I believe sociologists have found that in the African American household, uh, you're going to find one parent, and that's at a percentage rate of 78%, which is ridiculous. That means there's so much that our children are missing. There's so much that they do not experience because of the one parent household. And many shrug at that. But if you would look at the demise, even of our very social fabric in the African American community, it started when the Black man was taken out of the Black home. So
Mhm.
I heard Alan mention it earlier. We need,
Alden.
and yeah, this is broad based, but even more so in our community, in the Black community, we need to reestablish family, and family breeds community, and community breeds success. So those are some of the things that we at New Antioch Greater Impact Church we're working with young mothers, young fathers, trying to reunite them. And even if they don't get married, oh, and that's a horrible statement from a pastor, but even if they don't get married, we need to start exercising the power of presence,
Right.
the power of presence. And once we can just establish the power of presence and let our children see that uh, they come from something. One of the struggles that I had in my past was my dad died and I was only 13 years old when my father passed away.
One of the
So
other things
that
that we have in
left
common.
a void, excuse me?
So one of the
So
other
that left a
things they
void.
have in common.
Yes. So that left a void in my life. And I wanted to be and show everyone, okay, I don't have a father, but I'm still a tough guy. You still can't beat me. I could be the baddest guy, you know. So the power of presence. We need parents involved. We need parents to be unified in bringing up our children, and that's one of the things that we stress at New Antioch in our Enhanced Hope program. We have the Helen Harrison House of Hope for women, and we're looking to expand soon and open up several other homes. But on our campus at 65 Bourbon Drive, we have the Helen Harrison House of Hope, and we run our Enhanced Hope for children and at-risk youth. And what we try to do is instill in them that they're lacking nothing and redirect them from some of the temptations that may be present.
No, that's definitely great work. And I was saying that, you know, you and I have that both. And my father passed when I was 13, so it is a matter of, you know, the war on crime and the '96 crime bill and different things legislative wise that did take many fathers out of the home, but there are also instances and tragedy, unfortunately, that cause one parent households as well, as both you and I have experienced in growing up and trying to fill that void, which can definitely lead folks down the wrong path. And as Alden and I was talking about being led down the wrong path by somebody you may trust or, you know, just may have encountered and feel that that was a, you know, a presence to believe and follow in your life. There is work that you're doing, you said, with your wife, and the different components of New Antioch and also expansion. But I think one of the most important things I took from you is about the presence, whether that be a father or a mother, whether they're together or not. the presence of both parents in the children's life is paramount. One of the things that we do here in Bridgeport, we have a program called Bridgeport's Family First, where we work with individuals that are incarcerated, that are parents, and also connecting with the family, the children, and whoever is the caretaker out in the community. And while that person may not be physically there, we want to make sure that that connectivity is there, and that understanding is there. And then as that person transitions back into the community, that they understand, while it may not work out for them to be in the home, but the presence is very necessary for the success of those individuals that they bring to the world.
Yeah, and we have to get through to the parent who may not be incarcerated. Allow that mother, allow that father to make that phone call. The phone calls are free now. That's a blessing. I can remember when every time I called home, it was a charge call, and my mom told me, "Hey, we're going to have to cut this down to maybe once or twice a month." But now they have free phone calls. Individuals have free phone calls. So we want to encourage them to be the presence in their child's life. You may not be active, but be present. It's so vitally important, not only to coming together, but also to the child's mental health. It really fills a void, and as long as the individual's not calling saying crazy stuff, and they're growing, it fills a void, and it really gives the child confidence that they're loved, that they're cared for.
No, I totally agree with that. We're going to be ending here in just about 1 minute. You mentioned the calls used to cost a lot of money, to the point where your mom said you had to cut down on the calls. Now the calls are free. And that was due to a lot of advocacy work of people like yourself and myself and many others, and the groundswell of grassroots work, and advocacy that was only changed by, a force of will through the legislature to let people know that they do have power and they do have agency, and that helps with connectivity in the families. But with our last moment, I want to just to again reiterate more about the upcoming Redemption Forum, and let people know where and how they can reach you and find out more information about this upcoming grand event.
Great. You can find me, Esau Green, on Facebook. Also, my church is on Facebook, New Antioch Church of God, Greater Impact Church. Our event, Redemption Summit, is April 12th through the 13th. On the 12th, we will be having a service with the great pastor himself, Eldrin Morrison. He will be coming up from Atlanta. He's the former pastor, great pastor at Varick AME Church. On Saturday, where we will have an open forum to see. We're going to be discussing criminal justice, the new laws that have been passed, and all things concerning reentry. If you would like to set up a booth with your organization's information, text me as soon as possible, or Earl. You just got drafted, little cousin. Or Earl, or also Keisha Gaddison from Project More is also working with us. We're partnering together. We're stronger together when we come together, and we want to invite all our local politicians, our police officers. We want everyone in this community in public service and whatever capacity you're working in to further the betterment of the communities. This is a statewide event. We have Pastor Nelson Fernandez, who's going to be giving words of encouragement. I'm in talks with individuals from Brooklyn Tabernacle, who they also have a great reentry program at that church in Brooklyn, New York. So it's going to be a great time for encouragement, a great time of hope providing. And again, your presence is powerful. Amen.
Thank
Your
you very much,
presence is
Pastor
powerful.
Green. Appreciate
All
you.
right. You guys have a wonderful. Okay. Thank you for having me.
As I got another rhyme, another rhythm for y'all to listen. I'm never quitting on my mission. I'ma roll with what I'm giving. Got some ambition, this new edition, filling positions. Looking at the void in myself and feeling what's missing. Better watch the way you going, better go in the right direction. In the moment you stressing, but you gon' be counting blessings. And I know that for certain. Keep on working, open curtains, haters swerving, cause they ain't ready for your final version. Whoa. I'm never gonna give up, fall down, I just gotta get up, yeah. Cause this is my road, let's camera action.
You're listening to the Tom Ficklin Show on WNHHLP 103.5 SM, your home